Hi there, Maggie here again with the latest edition of the Vocal Human. It's been a little while since I did the last one, a couple of months, and I'll go in a minute to explain some of the reasons for that. But firstly, a big thank you to the local radio station KBRP LP Bisbee 96.1 Bisbee for letting me use their studio as a quiet space. I must just say at the beginning here that my views and opinions are my own, very personal. They are nothing to do with the station KBRP LP 96.1 Bisbee or the Bisbee Radio Project. I just need to get that disclaimer out there and thank them again for their space. As I say, it's been a little while since I spoke to you, and some of that has been because I've been training to get a radio show of my own, which hopefully in about a week and a half, the first show should go out, and that's pretty exciting. So if anybody's interested, you could look it up through the KBRP LP 96.1 Bisbee website, and you can pick up the archive version of the show anytime. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to sort of take the opportunity, this being the early part of the new year, to have a quick look back and also a look forward to how things have been going. Clearly, last year was a tumultuous year. It's been pretty disastrous in a lot of ways with the things that have been going on in our world and the excesses and the cruelty, and it's been very demoralizing at times. People have felt very frightened and tired at times. And it's been difficult to see, not only been painful to see what's been going on, but sometimes difficult to see a way forward. But the other side of the coin is that through all of that, it's actually people have then picked themselves up and started to push back with a renewed fervor and with a renewed appreciation for community. And the people are coming out to the protests in bigger numbers. They're adding their voices to everyone else, and there's a momentum building to push back of the worst excesses. And I think that this year going forward is going to be a big critical year for the sake of our democracy here in the US. We've got the potential of the midterms coming up in November, which, God willing, we will get to and will still be free and fair and will enable us to have an input in how things go forward from then on. But there's a big battle to be fought between then and now to help us survive to get to that point and to maintain the possibility of free and fair elections. So we've got to, despite the weariness and the fear, we've got to redouble our efforts and be more and more determined to actually stand up and be counted and make our voices heard and matter. And even if you feel you can't be front and center in a lot of this, even if you feel you're very much more in the background, it doesn't matter. It just a little word to a friend of yours about things, or encouraging them to do things, or just spreading this idea that pushback is possible, that resistance is possible, is important. We all have to take some sort of role in helping moving this whole thing forward. And like I say, even if you're not out there in the front lines, just sharing the questions and the ideas and the frustrations and the anger with other people can hopefully encourage them to do more, get more involved, or even open their eyes to what they really didn't see. So we all have a role to play. And I think that as the year moves on, that pace is going to increase. But we can't wait until September or October to start really doing anything, because the battle is being fought every day, and we've got to start right now so that we can make sure that we get through to November. And we've got to be prepared for, if the elections go in November the way we want them to, we've got to be prepared for what comes next. We've got to be prepared to say, right, this is what we want to achieve. This is what we're going to do. And even if we aren't running the administration as such, we won't have the presidency. Or the fact of the matter is, if we finally can make Congress give it back its power, give it back a spine, then we've got to be prepared for saying, right, what do we want to achieve now that we have some influence and some control in Congress? So there's a lot of work to be done between now and then. There's a lot of candidates who are still yet to come forward. There's a lot of candidates out there, up and down the ballot, whether it's a federal position or a state position or just a local council or an education board. There's a lot of people who are going to be coming forward who are brand new candidates and not used to this, but they deserve to be supported. And a lot of these new candidates are going to be people that are in tune with what real people are worried about. The rising prices of things, the rising prices of healthcare, the unavailability of healthcare in certain areas, how they're not dealing with the needs of children and veterans and countless other people, the rising temperatures and pressures with regard to international relationships, the continual pressures because of tariffs, and there's so much out there. But these people that are going to be the candidates, a lot of them are going to be much more attuned with how we feel about them, the pressures we have as individuals, rather than some sort of global view, or who are being persuaded by PACs or companies or whatever. So I think that's one of the benefits that have come out of this upheaval, these bad times, is that people are now beginning to realize that the real power lies with people, with individuals. And although there's obviously still a place for corporations and PACs and so on to a degree, we've got to find a much more balanced way of dealing with that, where the companies are there to support the people who buy their products, not to extort them. So that's going to be a long battle. It'll take a big change to see that through, but I think that the patience of the people has now run out, and they want something new and more recognizable by them, and the momentum of change is there, and we've now just got to go out there and support it. I would be remiss of me not to mention what happened in Minnesota just the other day, with this sad execution, quite frankly, of Renee Nicole Good. It's quite clear what happened. Unfortunately, it seems that everybody's going to be denied a proper investigation. It may well be that accountability is going to be denied too, at least in the near future, which is sad. I'm sure she had no intention or desire to become a cause célèbre, but just as back in the Kent State shootings back in Ohio in the 60s, they will always be remembered and will cause us to go forward. So our thoughts and prayers, and our hearts go out to her family in this bad time. Anyway, with that, please stay safe, stay well, stay happy, stay engaged. Happy New Year to you all. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment if you can. And it's lovely to talk to you all again. And until we do it again, as I say, big hugs to you all. Okay, bye for now. Bye.